Hi, thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop. I hope everyone's having a great day. Today we're going to be talking about We Were Restless Things by Cole Nagamatsu. I have to give this book 3 stars. I really think Nagamatsu failed with bringing the characters to life because, I think this is one of those novels that's probably going to balance on love or hate. You're either going to love it, you're either going to hate it. I'm sort of left somewhere in the middle. I neither love it nor hate it. I think it's just an okay novel. The premise is... Sorry, my allergies are really bad today. The premise is pretty interesting. It follows, the death of a boy who drowned, but he drowned on land, without any water in sight. But Noemi, Noemi, that's how you spell her name. So I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. Noemi, whatever. She knows a secret. There's this mystical lake in the forest behind her house that it moves. And there's a lighthouse on it as well. And it's a moving lake. And she shared this moving lake with Link, so she knows that it killed him. Also because he has been texting her from beyond the grave. I think it's a pretty interesting premise. I think it just lacks personality. Numi as a character, she's pretty stoic a lot of the time. She doesn't really have a voice or personality. She's described as having such vibrancy. She lives in her art. She's kind of this artsy girl, but I think her point of view lacks a personality. She sounds very monotonous all the time, and I think her voice simply just falls flat. It lacks emotion, I guess what I'm trying to say. And I just think that the author sort of missed something with her because, I do have to commend the author. He did bring an asexual character to life, but being asexual doesn't mean you don't have any emotion. And, a perfect example of an asexual character is read The Immortal Code by Lillian Clark. You have an asexual character in that novel, but she's pretty vibrant as far as characters go. Here you have Nomi, and her voice just kind of falls flat. She's a very detached person, and I think the author failed to really bring her to life and do someone of this community justice, ultimately. And then you have Amberlynn. Her point of view, it's just feels like you could literally skip all of her points of view and you wouldn't miss anything of the book. Her point of view just seems really inconsequential to the novel. It doesn't really bring any tension to the plot. At the end of the day, every time I was reading her, I'm like, okay, how is this relevant to the plot? It's really not relevant to the plot. Like I said, you could literally skip all of Amberlynn's point of views and you wouldn't miss anything of the novel. And then there's Jonas. He has a nice voice, but once again, I think they all fall flat. I think that's something this author needs to work on, is really bringing in some vitality into these characters, because a lot of them, they all kind of just fall flat. I think the most vibrant characters in the novel are the ones that don't have points of view. So there's that. But Jonas at times just kind of feels like an accessory to Numi. It's not that I didn't like Jonas. He does have a romantic interest to Numi, and they're sort of exploring it together because, once again, she is asexual, and I think one of the best lines is she doesn't know how that's supposed to work. She's like, there are no love stories about people like me, and I think that's really important to point out because it does bring to life the lack of representation in media, both written media and televised media. You really don't see a lot of characters who are asexual being represented in literature and in movies. But there's a lot that can be done. Once again, Immoral Code by Lillian Clark. So I think it's important to bring that sort of representation, but their voices just fall flat. And once again, the most vibrant characters are the ones that don't have a point of view in the novel. And once again, Jonas's perspective, he's a nice character. He's definitely relatable because he does have a lot of insecurities. And, he just got kicked out of school because he'd had enough, being bullied, so he punched someone and broke their nose. And so he went to go live with his dad. But he's a pretty insecure character. He feels like he really doesn't belong anywhere, and I think that's something, a lot of teenagers can relate to, this need to belong. But again, at the end of the day, he does kind of just feel like an accessory to Numi, which I think does a disservice to his personality and his point of view. I will say this, Nagamatsu did a really good job with creating the voice of the forest. It's very eerie, it's very sinister, it's very childlike at times. The forest is very old, but it doesn't understand human emotion. It's a forest. It wants to make Numi happy, but it's going about it the wrong way, i.e. it kills Link because, it thinks Link hurt her feelings, and then it takes Link's face to sort of communicate with her. So, building up the forest point of view and the forest voice, I think Nagamatsu did a really good job. It is sinister, is very eerie. However, I don't really think there's a lot of that. Another thing I did like about the novel was the interludes. You have these segments that look like something out of a sketchbook, a journal, and they're really good. They're writings and pictures and drawings, and they tell like mini stories. They're Numi's dreams, and I think that's the best time we get to really hear her voice is in those segments. And I really do like the mixed media here. You have handwritten stories, you have these pictures because she likes to sort of bring her dreams to life. And I think that's really clever as far as stylized, as far as styling the story goes. Now, at the end of the day, it was an okay novel. I think as a debut, it really could have used a lot of more hands-on work, with bringing these characters to life and making sure they had strong vitality to them. But the magical realism with the forest, I thought that was, very well done. I thought it was pretty exceptional, and I think maybe that's where the writers' talent is, creating magical realism. But I really do think the author really needs to focus on creating stronger voices for his characters so that they don't fall flat. Overall, it really only lacks in characterization. Otherwise, it is a pretty good debut novel. So I do give it 3 stars. This was We Were Restless Things by Cole Nagamatsu. Please remember to support your local bookseller if you're going to go ahead and purchase this book, and if not, support your local library and check it out from your local library. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.